So as of Friday, April 15, Jamaica's mask mandate ended in public enclosed spaces. However, business operators are being urged to still maintain mask wearing. Joining us to have this discussion and to provide some clarity is President of the Micro, Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises Alliance, Donovan Wignall. Good morning, Donovan. Welcome to Smile Jamaica.
Hey, Sir Donovan. How are you?
Hi, good morning, Neville. Good morning, Daniel.
Yeah.
I'm fine, thanks.
And it's a serious question. I've been asking it from I read this. What is a public enclosed space? And I mean very serious because I don't know if that only means government entities or if a bank is a public enclosed space, even though it's privately owned. So humor me, please, and tell me what is considered a public enclosed space.
Well, my interpretation of a public enclosed space is anywhere that the public is freely allowed to traverse. So whether it's a bank, whether it's any private entity that the public is allowed to enter, that's a public enclosed space.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
So let's get to the crux of the matter. The mandate has expired, but you're still being encouraged to have your customers and your clients wear it. What's the feedback from the members of the Alliance?
I think most people that I've conversed with, they are really looking at it as a matter of personal responsibility. The fact that it's not enforced, it's not a mandate anymore, meaning that it's not enforced anymore. They still encourage people who are entering their business places to wear their mask. It's a matter of choice. If you choose to wear it, fine. If you don't, then you're still allowed to do business with those entities. Mm-hmm. I still see where members of staff of those entities are still wearing their mask. I went to a function over the weekend, and quite a few people were wearing their masks, while the great majority didn't have on any. But people are still wearing their masks. People are still being cautious, because as far as you're concerned, COVID's still a key. So, personal responsibility is the order of the day. If it is that you're going out, if you want to be safer, then you wear your mask and continue to follow the protocols.
Yep. For Sir Donovan, back to my little strange question. So if I go to a bank and they say, put on a mask, and I say, I'm not putting it on, them can stop me from going?
No, they can't. I tested it the other day. So I went into a business place, and the security guard at the door saying you have to put on your mask. This is before the mandate kick in. So I told him that the government said that there's no mandate, so I don't have to wear the mask. He said, no, as of April 15, but right now you have to put on your mask before you come in. So people are quite aware. Been to other places, and they ask you politely, if you want, you can put on your mask. But if you choose not to, you're still allowed to enter. But they still insist that you sanitize, you don't have the alcohol station, you sanitize your hands and you enter. When you go in, the members of staff, whoever you're dealing with, they are masked up, and the preventative measures, like, some people put up the screens and so on. Those screens are still in place. So people are still being cautious, Neville. There is, even though there's not a mandate, people are fully aware that there's still the possibility that they can be infected with this very dangerous disease.
My concern, Sir Donovan, and I'm repeating what I said, that if you own a place that is privately owned by you, and you decide that you don't want a man coming in without a mask, but you're suggesting that I can tell you, say, I'm coming in whether you like it or not, but it's your place. Isn't that going to be an issue?
No, I don't think it's going to be an issue. People have choices, and if you go to a place to do business and you say that, I'm not wearing a mask today, and if it is that you require that I wear a mask and it's not mandatory, it's not law.
Right.
And you choose to try to enforce something that is not legal, I have the right to go to somewhere. I have the choice to go somewhere else and do my business. Okay. But that is not the case as it stands right now. Okay. People ask you to choose. If you don't, then it's not an issue.
My challenge, President, is along with the mask. So yes, the sanitization still happens, But my personal
Yes.
experience is that social distance has now also gone out the window. So I was in an establishment and I'm standing at the counter and a lady came, no mask. She stood right almost on top of me, and I'm looking at her to say
Back
hello.
off.
And her physical response was like, COVID not keeping us, so me not wear the mask, me not social distance. So I don't know. I kind of get the feeling that it's going to be a little bit of a getting used to get people to still appreciate space and them things.
I agree with you. I really seriously agree with you. That has been the experience, I mean, but Dale, listen, Dalia, there are quite a few people who take the bus on a daily basis, and that is the order of the day.
Right.
And even on the buses, there's not this, mandatory requirement. I mean, it's not a mandate anymore, but people who take the buses, who take public transportation, the taxis, I still see them wearing their masks, and I would still encourage them to continue to practice wearing the mask. It's a safety measure. You can still be infected, even though our positivity rate is not that high now. We see we're in other country, infection rates are going up. So, with the new variants coming out, I think even though it's not mandatory, I still encourage people to practice all the protocols that were previously installed.
Yeah, I'm reading an article here, and it cites President of the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, John Mafood,
Yes.
as saying the pullback was done too early, particularly against the background of Jamaica's vaccination percentage being so low. Do you think the pullback was too early?
To be honest with you, Delia, what has happened is that people were becoming a little bit COVID fatigue, and a lot of people were not wearing the mask. People are still going out, and basically it is as it is now. So whether we did it 2 weeks ago or 2 weeks hence, the situation would still be the same. So what I would encourage now is that, one, we continue to encourage people to go and get vaccinated. Two, we continue to encourage people, even outside of a mandate, continue to encourage people to practice the protocols, sanitize, social distance, wear your mask when you're in public spaces. And if somebody in your establishment becomes ill with a flu or any flu-like symptoms, then what you do is have that person recuse themselves from your business place until they're well.
Okay.
If you practice that, I don't see an issue.
Final question from me, Sir Don, and I've been saying this from day one, that anything you think will work, I am all for it. Even if I agree or disagree. If you think doing this or doing that will work, I am all for it. But I do find it a little strange that you still, under the public health enforcement measures, you are still expected to sanitize and wash your hands, which I can live with. But then you say you don't have to wear the mask when, if you inhale, you're going to get the virus. I kind of find it strange that you say, don't wear the mask, but sanitize still. Now, again, I'm repeating myself, but if it can help, I am all for that. So don't get me wrong. But
Absolutely.
it kind of strange, Sir Dan, to me.
Well, I mean, there's going to be a mix. There are people who are going to wear the mask, but I think sanitizing your hands is just good hygiene. If you're going to a business place and this is sanitized, no issue. Sanitize and moving right along.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I have no problem.
The mask wearing, yeah.
All right.
But I think it's something that is going to remain. I think it's good hygiene. So I hope people continue to practice that.
Yeah, man. And you're right. And I hope, I'm interested to see what happens like next week, week after, because we had crowds all over the place. We had crowds at
Yes,
Champs.
everybody out and party.
We're gonna be okay.
Yeah,
We're
crowds at
gonna be
Champs and
okay.
Carifta and
We're
parties
gonna
and
be
stuff.
okay.
So I pray that we will be okay. But
We're
I'm
gonna
anxious
be
to see in the
okay.
next couple of weeks where the numbers are. Good to see you, my friend. Stay safe and God bless you. And thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Yeah, man, likewise. And I agree with that. We're going to be okay.
Yeah, man. Micro, Small, and Medium-Sized Enterprises Alliance, Mr. Donovan Wignall. All right, so should there be a revitalization and standardization of some